الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلي يا ربي على خيرتك من خلقك محمد وآله الطاهرين. Awaited Savior Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, my respected teachers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second session. We are going to practically perform Ghusl and Kaffan on our hearty volunteer brother Nasser, and our good Ustadna, our sister, is going to help us direct some of the masail that might be particular to the sisters as well. So the first thing we have to remember is that we are doing this on behalf of the wali or the wasi of the Mayyat. So very soon we're going to ask Brother Nasser to actually become the Mayyat, and he will lie on the stretcher, and then we're going to have to lift his body as if he is dead. We're going to cut the Kaffan, which you can see is the white cloth behind you. We will explain the stages of the Ghusl, perform the Ghusl, and then we will wrap him in the Kaffan up until the very last point of the entirety of the shroud being covered on him. Whom from amongst the sisters could give Ghusl to Nasser? Ahsant. Anyone who is mahram to him. So if that person is mahram, then she can participate in the Ghusl. So the sister will just have to observe and take the notes, and obviously we will point out the points of departure.
Can the wife do the Ghusl for the husband even though he's passed away?
Yes. There is no separation, there's no talaq after death. So they remain mahram to one another, which allows them to see the private parts, to help wash the private parts. And when we come to that part of the masala, we'll explain some of the recommendations, practical recommendations for us. So the first thing would be that the team that is receiving the body now should take the permission from the wali or the wasi to be able to give the ghusl. Let us make some example. The body arrives, you take the permission, everything is smooth. It might be that the wali or the wasi is not present. It might even be that the wali or the wasi refuses you and says, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to be in keeping with his will, or I don't believe in this nonsense. He says he's an atheist. I'm an atheist, I don't want my father being subjected to this nonsense. Because it is wajib kifai, you would have to step in and ignore the demand of the wali or the wasi. So we have to get the permission. In absence of the permission, we can take the body, and we have to be able to try to fulfill the task according to what the Mayyat has demanded from us as a principle. Any questions? In the Masail al-Shari'iyah, those rulings are more detailed, and obviously, as I said, those people who are in this team, they should acquaint themselves with the specific scenarios. But in principle, remember that you are doing this on behalf of the wali. The wali can participate, the wali can watch, the wali can be outside, but you would need to get the permission, in principle, from the wali to be able to start. Okay? I recommend that there are two teams, one performing the ghusl, one cutting the cloths, so that you're not delayed, or there's not the kind of fatigue that will come in after potentially a long ghusl or whatever it may be. If you do not have those numbers to be able to separate the tasks, then so be it. It might be optimal to take the numbers. Think about if you have a dead body with length, different weights, you need at least one person washing, you need another person to lift the body. Depending on the size of the person, you might need two people to be able to lift the body. So in your teams, think about that as a practical issue as well. Any questions at this point?
Can we take a part in Kaffan though? Because we can't take the part in the Ghusl because of this mahram and non-mahram thing. But
yes.
Okay.
Well, so if the person is going to be naked or partially seen, then you wouldn't be able to be here if the person is mahram to you. So practically, then you would have to cut the Kaffan outside. Okay? When we're cutting the Kaffan, logically, what is the most important thing? The size. So that's why you want everyone in the same room, or you want everyone to be here so that it's easy to be able to do it. Now, inside the cupboards, we have the scissors. So, I'm going to ask you, for those of you who are less experienced, I'm going to ask you to be more involved. If you've done Ghusl and Kaffan before, leave it to someone else today to practice. Now, I know maybe you might not be confident, but this is how you build your confidence. We're going to work together. There's a lot of experienced people here to be able to help. So, who would like to volunteer to cut the Kaffan according to sizes? And who would like to volunteer to give the ghusl? It is recommended to make it warm water. What I'd like to do is just move this. Who knows what the three parts of the actual wajib parts of the Kaffan are?
Upper body and lower body and something else, anything?
It's a big sheet at the front and one at the back.
So we have three parts. We have the qamis, which is the shirt. So that's going to go from at least the chest all the way down to the knees, if not better to the ankles, the qamis. Then we have the mi'zar, the loincloth, which will go from the waist all the way ideally to the ankles, at least past the knees. And then we have the entire cloth, which is going to go over the entirety of the body.
Can I just say here for ladies, it's recommended to go right down to the ankles with the knees, both pieces. The first one can go up to the knees, but the one at the bottom can go right down to the ankles.
So we need to measure three parts. So would you kindly take the cloth? The two sisters cutting for us. Would you kindly take the cloth? Okay. So if you kindly measure from his shoulders down past his knees, double the length, then cut it. Okay, so now just imagine this is the length we need it to be. Yeah, so we can double that length. We need double that length.
Yeah. So
And then let's do it. Let's do it here. We can always cut it down. Keep unraveling. Give me an approximation of when double. Yes? Okay.
I think a bit more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more? Okay, no problem. So cut that, please. 3-4 people.
Yeah.
Why? Because look how long it takes. So if you've got one person washing, you can have one person cutting. Okay? So this will become his qamis. The qamis has to go from shoulders past the knees, but ideally to the shins and ankles. So minimum to the shins, all the way down to the ankles. Thank you very much. The next piece is what is called the mi'zar.
Waist to the ankle.
Waist to the ankle.
And that needs to be
Doesn't need to be
double.
double the size because we're going to wrap it round him.
Width is quite big.
Yeah, so this is good. This is good. Okay?
Time from my training, this midsole part for females is double, and what happens is both as there's a part that goes underneath and the part that goes on top, and then a slit is cut between the two, and then both of those parts are wrapped around the legs.
Last part, or the third part, is the third of the wajib parts, is the entire wrap, which will go around the entire body. We would loosely call that the chador now in our communities. So that needs to be more than double the length of Nasir in its entirety, because it needs to cover him entirely. Okay?
From head to toe or
From
from shoulder
no,
to toe?
head to toe. He's completely covered,
Bigger than the head, longer than the
and then this will be wrapped around him. So just imagine for a second, the ghusl is being given. We will lay out the cloth in such a way that his body can be placed over it, and then the first thing that will be tied is the loincloth. Then the second thing that will go over him is the qamis, and then I'll show that to you in a short while, inshallah. So for now, cut double his length.
More than double his length. Right.
Yeah, because he'll be underneath it, and then we're going to cover him like this. We're going to tie over him, so you're going to have to cover his face, tie his leg. Yeah? If you can recite Quran, dua, or have it being played in the background, then that would be better. This would be the covering for the entire body. So these are the three parts which are wajib for us. Yes? We have the qamis, we have the mi'zar, and then we have the entire thing which we normally call the chador, which wraps entirely around the body. We now need to cut the pieces which will be either mustahab or necessary practically for us to be able to use. So the mustahab will be the amama. The amama is as simple as not this, but just tying a cloth around the head. So if you can kindly cut a very small slip like this, which is enough to just wrap around his forehead and just be tied, and then a little bit hanging down around the shoulder, enough for us.
We'll go this way?
Yes, just imagine around the forehead, something simple.
So this much width is fine as well?
Yes, and then next thing that we will need is we will need the 4 strips or so, because once the kaffan has been wrapped over the body and has been tightly put underneath his body, if we pick him up, it'll come loose. So we need to have, similar to what we just cut there, we will need to have straps that will lie underneath and that we can use to tie the entirety of the kaffan together.
So to like close the jaw together, you kind of get a bit of the cloth and you tie it together so that doesn't happen. Is that why they use cotton wool for the nose as well?
So if there's the potential of najasat coming out or anything else, then you can put the cotton wool in the mouth, in the nose, to be able to block any najasat that comes out. We will now begin the ghusl portion. So there are 3 wajib ghusl, but we will do one before that in a minute to be able to clean any najasat. So 3 wajib and 1 before, which is recommended just to clean all the najasat. Qibla in the room? This way.
This way now.
This way now.
This way.
Thank you. So I want you to remember now, Brother Nasir, could be a few hours after death, or it could be several days. It could have been that the body has been frozen and thawed, which means there'll be different levels of how stiff the body is. So when picking up the dead body, we do this with the utmost of ihtiram for the body, the utmost care for the body, and remembering it's going to be dead weight, which is going to be heavy for you to be able to pick up. Number 2,
No, just leave it there.
it'll drain inshallah, it'll drain. We're going to be using this so much, and ahsant, thank you. Number 2, we have to remember that we are not permitted to be able to look at the private parts of the Mayyat, of the marhum. Haram for us to be able to look at the private parts of the marhum. The only time we have to do that is if we are trying to wash a part of the private parts. If we can avoid even looking whilst we are washing the private parts, this is required from us. In the instance that we have to look, then it will be as minimal a look as possible. We have to cover his private parts. So if we have, in Nasir's case, we cover his private parts. And of course, if we were washing, we would lift up and we would wash. If we need to be able to check najasat has been removed, then we would have to look at the private parts, but that is as minimal as possible. Even better if it is someone who is mahram to the person, then that person can obviously look. So if I'm being given the ghusl, my wife can come in and look at that part or participate in that part, and then after that can leave or whatever. So you can think about the practicalities. Remember we said that if you're broken off into different teams, because you know the masail, and you can convey that to the people, to the wali, to organize it accordingly, and so on and so forth.
And for the lady, it needs to come up to the neck, the covering cloth. Okay.
For obvious reasons. 3, anything that you see about the body is haram for you to be able to convey it to anyone else or to talk about it. There may be ayub on the body. Allah has Hum? Sattarul Ayub. Therefore, we also have to take on that duty. And anything we see, you can't tell it to if you go home, you can't tell your wife what you saw. You can't tell your husband what you saw. You can't tell your children what you saw. You can't tell the Sheikh what you saw. Unless it is a mas'ala that you need to be able to check. Other than that, there is no strict confidence that whatever you have seen. So in the absence of having the right water, there's 3 types of water. If you don't have one of the water, for example, you don't have ma'u sidr, then instead you'll have to do the pure water and then do tayammum as a recommended precaution, or a wajib precaution rather, for you to be able to cover that. We'll come to that in a minute, inshallah. We're going step by step. The Mayyat's body, the private parts are covered. Anything else, Sayyid?
No, just we washing by water first, and we start
Which we will do.
With Kaffan.
Which we will do, inshallah. Okay, so now it's still warm? Yes? Okay, so remember, last thing we said, Sattar al-Ayub. Can I volunteers? I think we need maybe 4 people. Kindly lift his body.
Do like this, yes. And someone with me, one from here.
So remember, we always have to cover the private parts. We don't want this to fall off.
One from here.
If someone can help
People, they say
on the other side.
touch them.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Make sure the cloth is always covering him. Excellent. Thank you very much. The first is a ghusl, which is not of the 3 wajibat ghusls, but we do a ghusl of the entirety of the body to wash away any potential najasat. We'll try to move quickly as much as possible. We need to do the first ghusl. So the first wash. This is not part of the 3 wajibat ghusls. The purpose of this is to be able to remove any najasat, which are likely there will be, because there is going to be excretions coming out of the body. So it is permissible for you to do this with soapy water. And of course the idea is that you use the soap to be able to wash the potential najasat, make the body smell nice, and so on and so forth. So we have here, the idea is to wash the body off najasat. So where does najasat come from? It's obviously primarily 2 places. If there are cuts to the body, then there might be najasat coming from other place. So that's why we have 3 or 4 people, for you to be able to lift the body up, hold him, and wash his backside. Again, on the proviso that you're not looking. So as you're washing him now in demonstration very quickly, you'll be washing. But you may need to ensure that the najasat has been removed. That requires you to do a more detailed, thorough look, as is required.
Saying if the body has like long fingernails or body hair, do we need to remove that as part of this first?
Long fingernails, hair, no? No.
Is that okay?
No. No removal of anything like that.
Sometimes the najasa is not going out. We need a place here to push.
Ahsant. So a practical issue is that in 3 hours time, najasa will come out, because that's the nature of the body. As it deflates, as the air comes out, the najasa will come out. It is better for you to press the body lightly. When I say lightly, enough to be able to push out, but without doing any harm to the body, and allowing the najasa to come out. If you get the najasa out, then obviously that needs to be washed away and cleaned.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Ladies, before you start doing this, make sure there's no nail polish on. Remove it with nail polish remover, and then start doing the ghusl. Any jewellery,
Go ahead.
remove it. Check for makeup, the waterproof makeup that might be on the face. Make sure you remove that as well. So just clean it with makeup remover and nail polish remover before you start.
Right, guys, let's just catch up where we are. We've cut the Kaffan. Everybody's in? We've cut the Kaffan, and we have now transferred the body, and we are starting not the 3 wajib ghusls, but we're washing away any potential najasat. So that means washing everything properly and fully, like you would imagine an entire body needs to be washed. We've covered the private parts, and our Mayyat Nasir is being washed from head to toe and making sure that we get everything fully clean.
Do we use any kind
So you can use shampoo, you can use soap to be able to wash the body with. Yes.
The sponge as well, is that okay? And everything?
Anything.
You could, at this point you might be wearing gloves, you don't have to. If you wear your gloves,
Yeah.
you can use a sponge, anything soft that won't hurt the Mayyat or be disrespectful to the Mayyat. Okay? So we've finished the first wash. Now we do the first wajib wash. What's the first act of something which is wajib? Niyyah. So what will your niyyah be? So what's the first of the 3 washes? Not kafur. Sidr. Ma'u sidr or abi sidr if you do it in Farsi. So we would start with the niyyah. I am washing this Mayyat with the ma of sidr. Wajib qurbatan ilallahi ta'ala. Now this, yes, yes. So now this, do you want to get this one? Who's doing the ghusl? Who's at my team for ghusl? Say it. How do we utilize?
We don't use this one. We have
So we put the water into the jug.
on the jug.
Yeah.
And we use it.
Okay. So if you could kindly show us, we have to do. We're going to put the.
Do you put sidr?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please. So we're going to put the sidr, and Sayyid will show us. Now we put enough sidr that enough has been put in to make it known that it is sidr, without it becoming mudaf, becoming so mixed that that's all that you can smell. But there's just enough in it to say that this amount of sidr has been put into the water.
Sheikh, now sometimes because of the big pieces of the sidr, sometimes, especially in ladies' hair, they get stuck.
Yes.
So do they need to be completely removed from the hair, those little pieces, before
It doesn't
we
need to
go
be
on
complete. If you can't remove it, and it's stuck, it's stuck. It doesn't take anything
so
away
it's
from the
better, I think, for
ghusl.
women to use powder
Yes.
because it can get
So,
stuck in the hair.
say, can you show us? Can you just show everybody?
Yeah.
This is a couple.
So whoever, like a lady passes away,
This is the sidr.
So we're going to take maybe a handful of sidr,
it's blending
little bit like this. Can you see? Like a pinch. Can you see? And mix it into the water. First one. 3 ghusl. The first one is ma'u sidr.
And I use this water.
So just put the water in. I'll put the little bit.
Now this ghusl, because it's wajib, it has to follow a shar'i format, which is the tartib, the order by which the ghusl is given. The tartib is the same as you would do for your own wajib ghusl. The head, and then the neck, then the right hand side of the body, then the left hand side of the body. So when we say right hand side, we mean the entire right hand side. The front, then the back, then we move on to the left hand side. Not we wash the right side first and then the left side front. No, the whole right hand side of his body, and then underneath this back right hand side, then the left hand side. Okay? So when we do the ghusl, everything has to make sure the water reaches everywhere. The inside the ears, inside the nose, between the toes, under the armpits, into the crevices of the body. So if you can please do this, those people who are doing the ghusl, if you can please wash him with this water properly. The ma'u sidr, the hair, the head, the face, the neck, the right hand side of the body in its totality, the left hand side of the body in its totality.
This sidr.
probably go straight out with the washing.
Yeah, but when you do that, it still has to be first the head.
The first head.
Head and the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah? Thank you. Look, so you can see he's being held up. Why is it important to hold him up? Because you will have to use 2 hands to be able to get into his ears, behind his neck. The entirety of his body needs to be washed. Thank you, Nasir, for your patience. Okay, so let's imagine now the entirety of the head. Can you do it so everyone, you can see it? Yeah? The neck, everything from top of the head, the hair, completely wet. No potential for any point to have been missed. I can't emphasize this enough. You must make sure the entirety of the body has become wet and been washed.
The ladies with the long hair, right
Warm.
down to the tips of the hair.
Sisters will have long hair. All the water has to reach even the tips. The right hand side, between the fingers. We'll need you to lift him up.
Just be careful about the month. Mouth is
Yes, and you don't want the water to go into the mouth.
Get some of this to.
Impurities and najasa, because the hair has to be what we call the skull, the skin.
So we said the first ghusl, before the first ghusl is
Remove the najasa.
remove the najasat.
No, I'm talking about the first ghusl.
Yeah.
Does it has to reach the? Does it have to go on all the hair, or
Yes.
is it the skull?
No, everywhere. Even the hair.
Like the normal ghusl.
Like a normal ghusl, everything has to be reached.
So I thought the most important reach is the skin, not the hair.
Even every part of the body, every part should reach, the water should reach to. Yeah? So now we're washing the right hand side.
Okay, from inside, not from outside.
Not from outside, because then the water doesn't reach. Yes? So, as we said earlier, you don't want to look at the private parts, but you need to be able to make sure that the water has reached. So you would lift up the cover and wash. Then we do the left-hand side of the body. So you'll start with what's in front of you, and then we would have 2 or 3 people lift him up, please. If you can lift Nasser up.
So
Hold from this
side, pull him over.
Stay here.
From this side?
Hold it from here.
Lift up, hold him steady. Ahsant. And then we will wash the entirety of the body. The whole of the body has to be receiving this water.
In one go, don't go up and down. It has to go from start from the top, go right down to bottom in one sweep.
Clean, slowly.
All the way down.
Yes.
That's why it needs 2, 3, 4 people because it's so difficult.
Should you be using your hands to
So you
spread the
can
water on the body?
yes, spread the water, wash,
I
wipe.
think Dr. Haider have full experience because his dad always with us. They come in to wash.
We want to
And
give
they
practice
teach
to the
us
people who have never done it before.
This is for people
This is
who
for people who have never done it. Ahsant. So you don't drop the body down. Layer him slowly, layer her slowly back. Okay. So as long as you are satisfied that the ma'u sidr has reached everywhere in the body, you've not seen any najasat now come out that we would need to then wash away, you can now start with the second ghusl, which is the ma of camphor, kafur. So again, same thing, we need to mix.
If you identify after the wash that some place is missed, do you repeat that process again?
Yes, if you've missed one place, then you would do it again.
The whole
No, that part that you've missed.
No, for example, like the head is part, some part of the head is missed.
Then just do that part.
Just do that.
Just do that part.
Okay.
This one, and this enough.
If at any point of the ghusl,
Unless we use it later. We come
Let's see.
just come out, do we start the ghusl all over again? Or was the
Sorry, Musa?
Just clean it. No need to start it again, just clean it.
Impurities, and you start the first ghusl midway through, like let's say there is a stitch and it pops
Yes.
and blood comes in.
Yes.
So you just need to tell them that this has to
Wash it off.
pure it and then
Yes, ahsant. So the same question has come from the brothers and the sisters. Guys, I know if we can just stay together so that we're all hearing the same things. So let's say you're in the middle of the first ghusl and you see that something has come out, the najasat, or there's a stitch and it's come out and it started to bleed. Then you need to be able to wash that off until you are satisfied that it's no longer bleeding, that the najasat is completely out, and then finish your first round of your ghusl.
If the bleed don't stop.
If the bleed doesn't stop, then you will need to be able to wash it away and then try to cover it. So if you need to use a plaster or a gauze or something to hold it down in order to be able to stop the najasat from running. Okay, so now we're going to do what do we do before the second ghusl? Niyyah. I am performing ghusl of kafur, wajib qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. And again, it's tartibi. You start with the head in its entirety, making sure that it reaches the neck, right hand side of the body, front, then back, then left hand side of the body, front and back.
Who does the niyyah? The one who's actually pouring, or everyone does it?
All of you, you're all participating in the ghusl. So everyone who's participating in the ghusl needs to be able to do their own niyyah. So
Just one thing, when you wash head, you wash the whole head.
the whole head.
You don't do the half side
No,
of the head.
no. Like your
So,
ghusl for
exactly.
janaba, you wash the whole head,
whole head,
making
whole
sure
neck,
that every part of the water reaches every part of the body.
Okay, Sheikh, if somebody start bleeding at the second...
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
You don't have to start over, you just...
No.
Okay.
At no point you have to redo the ghusl other than stitch the place up or plaster it. Am I right?
No. So once you finish the ghusl, then if it opens, then you're in the middle of your second ghusl, you have to fix it.
Fix it, but you don't have to start.
You don't start the first ghusl again or everything from the beginning.
Sheikh, the plaster that you supposed to leave there to stop the bleeding or the najasa to come out, that has to be removed before you place the kaffan on there.
No.
It can be left there.
It can be left there if necessary to stop the najasa, because you don't want the najasa to come out and then come to the kaffan.
Is that the
It
role of
doesn't
the
stop
kaffan?
it with the plastic.
Say again?
It doesn't stop.
You can roll it with plastic tight, because now you've done the ghusl. So you wrap the body in that thing that needs to hold it in place, stop the najasa from coming out.
Does it matter what hand you use to wipe? What hand is poor?
No.
Sheikh, is that the
We've cut it. It's over there.
So is that how it cut that?
Yeah, we did a cutting session, but inshallah, Sayyid and others can show you separately a cutting session. It's not too difficult.
Yeah, that's it.
What is 3 cuts?
3 cuts.
There's 3 wajib pieces to the kaffan, and then there's other recommended, and then just practically required parts. Okay, so now we hold him. Can we get some help? It's at the moment only one person who's lifting. Who's the other volunteers?
He's relaxing.
Yeah, so we would wash the backside of the left, making sure again water reaches everywhere on the left hand side.
Once the people that have finished, that are doing the ghusl, are finished doing the ghusl, do they then have to go and do ghusl themselves?
Yes, if they've touched it, because you could be wearing gloves, you could be wearing full protected gear, you haven't touched the Maiyat.
Okay.
But if any part of your body has touched the Mayyat's part of the body when it is cold, then you will have to do the ghusl masl Mayyat.
If the water that you do the ghusl for the mate touch you as well.
That's najis. That's najis.
So you have to...
Well, you have to wash yourself, but obviously if you do the ghusl, it's 2 separate things. If you've touched najis water, then you just have to clean yourself with water, right?
Yeah.
If you've done the ghusl, then you need to be able to do the ghusl. But obviously if you do the ghusl, then it washes away the najasat anyway. Because you're in the shower, you're going to wash away the najasat that your hands have touched. You understand?
Yeah, what? Measure is better just to do the ghusl.
Yeah. Do ghusl, change of clothes.
So we've done 2 ghusls, correct? Now is the third one. Which one is this?
Plain water.
Plain, pure water. So we just need plain water, and again it's the same process. It's a wajib niyyah
On the pipe now.
and same tartibi method of being able to wash the head, the neck, the right hand side of the body, the left hand side of the body.
How do you
I'm performing the ghusl of ma' al-khalis or pure water, wajib qurbatan ilallah. Head, neck, making sure water reaches everywhere.
Do like this. Be careful the mouth. Neck.
Right hand side and the left hand side. MashaAllah, it smells very nice.
That's Kaffan.
That's Kaffan. You can smell that?
What's the idea behind the Sidr al-Kaffan?
You're making the body smell nice, which of course will have deteriorated. The body will possibly have deteriorated over a period of time and will start to smell.
So is it Islamically specific Sidr al-Kaffan?
It's specifically Sidr and Kaffan. Now, one important mas'ala. I'm going to, whilst they're washing, please listen to this mas'ala. What happens if you don't have ma of Sidr or you don't have ma of Kaffur? Ahsad. So the first thing is, you still have to give it its wajib ghusl, but you do it with ma al-khalis, pure water. So you replace what you cannot do. So I don't have Sidr, for whatever reason, it's unavailable. You would have to replace it with pure water, and then you would have to give the body tayammum. This is wajib. How do you do tayammum? So, you would do the first part. You'd have to make the niyyah, and then you would have to do your hands against the ground, against the earth. And then either use the mayyit's hands, if the mayyit is not stiff, and you can move the body to be able to wipe the face and wipe the back of the two hands as per tayammum, then you use his hands or her hands. If it is too stiff, it would damage the body, it would cause some harm that would not be in keeping with the ihtiram of the body, then you will give the tayammum to the body with your hands. You wipe it on its face and wipe it on the back of the hands. That goes the same. So even if you've done it once because you could not find ma of sidr, and then God forbid you can't find ma of kafur, you have to do it again. Ghusl with pure water and then another tayammum. One is minimum. I'm replacing the ma of kafur with ma al khalis, wajib qurbatan in Allah ta'ala. I am giving the mayyit tayammum, wajib qurbatan in Allah ta'ala.
One of it available then, let's say.
Yeah, so if you have one, you do one. If you don't have it, you replace it with ma al khalis, pure water, and the tayammum. Okay? Excellent.
Now finish the wash.
Now finish the wash. So what we would have wanted in theory is that we start to lay out, whilst one team is washing the body, ideally another team is already laying out the kaffan, so that it's all ready for the hunut to be given next. So what we would do is we would wipe down the body. Gently, we would get towel, we would get tissue, we would wipe it down so it's all dry. Why? Because obviously if you're about to put the kaffan on and you put the kaffan on a wet body, it's not going to be easy to manage and negotiate.
But there's no harm in the kaffan getting wet with the...
No, shar'an, no. Practically speaking, it's easier that, you know, if you try to put on a t-shirt when it's wet, it's hard for you. Yeah, simple as. So...
Sorry, Sheikh, now, let's say they have washed the body bare hands.
Yes.
So they're najis.
They are najis.
So they have to be dry before putting the kaffan on.
So they will have to dry their hands, wash their hands, because they're najis, dry them, and then start. Make sense?
But they don't have to do the ghusl themselves?
No.
No, as long as you're dry. You're not
As long as you're dry. After they finish the process, that's why we said you potentially have two teams. Because now the other one can take over or whatever it is.
Sorry. You said if sidr is not there, instead of that what you do to make a tayammum, then another wash, then second is for kafur, another tayammum.
No.
You do a third wash.
No.
Wash and tayammum, second time for the kafur. And will there be a third wash after that with pure water?
Yes. So you've done the... You have to do 3 wajib ghusls.
Yes.
So if you don't have the sidr, you still have to do a ghusl. So you wash the body and then you do tayammum.
You don't have
Water
to
and tayammum for each one of those you
every
don't have.
time. So yeah, sidr. If there's no sidr, you
Maybe
do
I'm not understanding
ghusl
the question.
And then tayammum.
She said, how many ghusl you have? 3 ghusl with
Yes.
sidr and kafur
Yes.
and tayammum. Like this.
No.
Okay, sidr water is not available. Then you do plain water, then a tayammum.
Yes.
And then kafur is not available, then
Plain water, tayammum.
And then
The third ghusl is still required. You still have to do the third
And
ghusl.
if both of them are not available, the same thing twice.
Yes. Ahsant. Thank you. Good question. So now we've wiped the mayyit down and we are dry. We can now lay out the kaffan. So can I ask everyone, maybe if we prepare the kaffan, maybe the sisters go on one side, brothers go on the other side?
Sheikh, do you want to do the kaffan in the main hall? Or is there any reason why we need to be here?
No, we could.
Better, yes.
Where?
Here, always we do it
Here.
There's the kaffan, make ready, everything ready. Now it's not placed. That's why.
So you're saying make over there?
For more space purposes? You're just doing it practically?
Yeah.
My only worry is that our brother is very wet.
We can do
So
it.
So we can use another person?
Yeah.
We can change you up?
You can use me for the kaffan.
Yes.
And you can go and get changed and maybe.
Okay. I think that's practically better.
In regards to, because you done the ghusl
You use water and then
You use water. Do you do the tayammum on the wet body?
Yes, you can do it on the wet body. There's no masala that says you have to dry the body and then do the tayammum. The tayammum is done immediately, even though the body is wet.
What's the body then?
What?
Sheikh, what's the procedure? What? If you don't have water, what's the procedure then?
We have to have water.
If we don't, if you're in the middle of the desert,
Then do tayammum.
tayammum, just like you told.
Three
for every-
tayammums. Three tayammums.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. Yes. Okay, so can I ask then, can we bring the pieces of the kaffan?
Yeah, are we taking it into the bedroom?
Yes.
Just practically.
Just practically for space purposes. Thank you. Can we all have a salawat for Brother Nasser? Ahsan Sayyid. Our noble Mayyat has had his ghusl given to him. He has been dried. What is the next part of the process? Hunut. What is hunut? To apply what? To where? Who can tell me?
You put the wood?
Well, I'm sorry?
We have a small wood, we put it here.
Yes.
Like hanut and kafur.
Yes.
On head, hand and
Ahsan. Ahsantum. So the sister is bringing the hunut. Where is it? She's bringing it. The next part of the process will be for us to apply camphor to the 7 parts that we do the sajda with from our body. What are the 7 parts of our body? Forehead, 2 palms, knees, and 2 big toes. So this is another wajib part. So now, what we would be doing is we'd be doing the hunut. From a practical perspective, we will lay out the kaffan, place the mayyat on the kaffan, and then put the hunut on so we can immediately wrap. You understand? So even though, in terms of the tartib of the whole process, hunut comes next. Once we've dried him, we can start to get this ready. Okay, so who are my volunteers?
Sorry, Sheikh. For that group that missed that first part of the kaffan, the kaffan has 3 parts, right?
Yes.
The main big.
So we've cut those and we're going to lay them out.
So you haven't laid them out already. You should have had them ready on the table.
So we said in the presentation.
Piece first, then the top part, then the bottom part.
Ahsant. So that's what I'm going to ask everyone to do. Ahsantum. So who are my volunteers to be able to do the kaffan? 1. Who else? 2.
But I need someone they do. I need to see.
Ahsan. Anyone else? Okay. So we have all the pieces cut. You are also permitted to use an actual diaper. So, at this point, my humble recommendation to you, just for practical purposes, is that we're going to lay out the different parts of the kaffan that we're going to use. If you can, put the diaper on. Men and women, put the diaper on, because its purpose is to stop any leakage, just like a baby. Leakage is actually quite likely to happen over a number of hours. As the brother was asking, if it now leaks, if it comes out, the diaper catches it, you won't see it, inshallah it'll be fine. You don't have to then open up, change part of the kaffan, or wash the kaffan, or clean the kaffan. You don't know najasat is there, you're not bound to do anything. But obviously if you only use something thin like this, it's very possible that especially urine will go through the first layer, the second layer, the third layer. You will see it, you will smell it, and then you will have to take off and clean it again, clean the body again, not ghusl, but clean it off so that there's no najasa, and change this. It is better for you to use a diaper so that any najasat is caught and doesn't seep through. All with me?
So from your experience,
My experience of doing this, everyone. Put the diaper on, and of course that's why you have different sizes. Sister said that they don't use, they normally just cut the cloth.
Yeah, if we haven't got access to diapers, so some places do have them, some places don't. Even if they're not the right size, you can always pull and tug and sort of wrap them around with a piece of cloth. But if we don't have them, then we cut a large square of cloth, place it we cut a square, fold it into like a triangle, place it behind the Maiyat as a triangle like this, and then pull the pointy bit through to the top, and then tie across the front.
So it's practically acting as a diaper.
So it's acting.
But the reason why I say use the diaper is because the diaper is a diaper. It's actually there to catch urine and feces.
With the
Whereas
cloth-
something like this is going to leak through.
Yeah, with the cloth you'll need padding, so you'll need. I've seen it's here as well, the cotton.
Diapers are not stitched. So it is permissible for you to be able to use it, number one. Number two, once you've covered the private area, now you're free to be able to move around the body without having to worry. Do you understand? Yes. Because obviously you have to refrain from looking at any part of the private parts. If you've now covered the diaper, those people giving the ghusl in the kaffan are now free to be able to act very swiftly. So 2 reasons why I recommend you to use the diaper. Make sure there's no najasat, and a practical reason as well. It's not wajib, it's just a practical thing that over the years when we've done this, it's easier for you to be able to use it. طيب. So now we need to lay out the kaffan. And as you know, we have 3 parts which are wajib. So if you think about it practically, you would work your way backwards. What's the last thing that you're going to tie?
The 4 strips.
Ahsant, the 3 or 4 strips. So where are they going to go? Who's going to volunteer? You've got my volunteers here. You're going to tie across the chest. You're going to tie one over the waist, one over the legs. So for example, the first thing that you want to be able to lay out will be the strips,
So you put them
because ultimately that's what's going to go last. Ahsant.
You said one up there.
Yeah, I mean you can keep one as well just in case you needed to wrap it around the head.
Like this. And then the last one around the head, yeah?
If you need it, because you might need to tie the feet or you might need to tie the head. It's there for
So 3 like this.
Ahsant. What are you going to tie second last, penultimately?
The massive, the big one.
Which one?
The biggest one.
Which one? The mi'zar,
I don't know the names.
qamis, or the chadar? Chadar. That's the one that covers the entirety of the body. So kindly take out the longest piece and lay it out. Now those who are very experienced at doing this, they will be able to give you some guidance as to where to place it. Anyone? Now, later on we'll talk about which one to wrap first, the left side or the right side. We'll talk about that in due course, so don't worry about that. Ahsant. What comes next? What are you going to put first, practically now, speaking, in terms of when you want to... So you'll put the mitzvah you'll probably put the mitzvah first, and then the qamis over it. Like normally when we get dressed, you might put your trousers on and you put, shalwar over it, for example. But either way, it's practically there. Maybe...
This way?
Is that a bit short? But it's fine for the moment.
Did it up to the
Yeah,
knees,
that's good. Yeah, we did it to there. Okay? Brilliant. So that's perfect. Perfect. And now we want to lay out the qamis.
This is bigger.
Yeah.
This way?
Did you cut the slit into Sheikh for the head?
Like this?
You haven't cut the slit for the head? Oh.
We'll do that now in a minute, inshallah. Do we have the scissors?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You cut it.
You can cut it. This is for you to practice with.
Fold it into half first. Yeah.
Open it.
Now we need to lift our Mayyat and put him in the middle in such a way that we keep him in line, so that if this is his loincloth, we will easily be able to wrap it around him. Okay?
Excuse me, brother, can you go?
Yes.
You need more than
Rub his feet together. I hope you can have
Nice and gentle, ihtiram of the body. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
You say la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah.
You recite La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah Aliyun Waliyullah. Ahsantum. Okay. So, we have the different areas by which, thank you very much. So now we have to do the hunut. Remember, we said we placed him here, but now we're doing the hunut. The hunut is rubbing of camphor on the 7 parts of the parts that we do the wajib sajda with. So who would like to do that? It's only a little bit, you know, just a little bit. Now the first comes the forehead as a recommendation, and then the rest can be in any order. From the Shar'an perspective, it's recommended the forehead first, but then after that you can do any order that you want. Number 1. Number 2, it's not all the toes, just the tips of the big toe. Ahsant, big toes. Okay, so you'll rub it on his forehead.
Just like that, yeah.
Sisters, if you can see, do you want to come in a way that the sisters can see? If you want to sit here, so just rub it on his forehead. Thank you.
Is it like a powder?
And then the palms of the hands.
So you don't put this in the water. It's just the.
Is it like a white powder?
Palms, like just not the fingers, just like this, like in the. Yeah, ahsant. And then the toe, and then the other side as well.
Sometimes people will mix khak shifa into it as well, into the kafur as a mustahab thing. And sorry, yes, but don't put it on the feet. Only kafur on the feet. Yeah. But you can mix it.
So right now, our Maiyat, just from the way I do it, would be in just his diaper. Remember?
Yes.
Or the way the sister mentioned, just a cloth to cover the private parts, and obviously for the sisters, on the chest as well.
Yes.
And this is the hunut. Any questions?
Is it hunut?
No, with a ha. Hunut. Okay? Tahneet is complete. And now we come to doing which part? Ahsan. Wrapping up. Yes, wrapping up. Yes? So, I don't know how...
You need to put the tree wood.
If you have it, it's not wajib, but if you...
Because always we put it.
Good, yeah, okay. If you have it, obviously some people won't have. But you...
Bring it closer.
Okay.
Oh, tree wood?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's small like this.
Okay.
This is a recommended act for you to be able to put the twigs here, the wood here. And I think the hadith says that so long as it is there, it is fresh, there are sins being forgiven. I forget the specific hadith. Questioning does not start until that is removed. It's not wajib. It's not wajib. So there is the practice of putting twigs twigs from like small branches of tree here underneath, okay, and then any tree, and then burying with that, based on the hadith that says that either punishment, I can't remember the hadith now, the punishment or questioning will not start so long as that twig remains there. So this is a mustahab that is mentioned.
So make sure probably glue it on.
Say again?
Glue it on.
Glue it on. Yes. Ahsant. Okay.
Get 2 trees.
On the tricks, the kalma has to be engraved or...
No.
So
No, it's not. No, not nothing like that. If you want to do it, it makes no difference. Yeah, it's inshallah.
There's so many mustahabat. You're gonna have to look it up. I mean, this is the wajibat. There's so many.
Okay, so who are our volunteers to be able to help wrap? 1, 2. Who else?
So how do we start from the...
I'm available.
Do you start from the right and from the top, the head, or...?
You can do either, but if Sayyid wants to...
This one is too big.
This one is too... The reason why is because the way I would have done it is that I would have put a slit in here and then wrapped it over. It would have come over the shoulders and then gone down over the body. That's the way I would do it, as the qamis, as the shirt. We don't have to do it this way. It makes no difference.
No, we do already. We cut it from here.
Yeah.
And we do the qamis.
Okay.
And we have this one on
Tafaddal.
the
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Wrapping the body.
No, you don't have...
Doesn't have to be left or right is fine. Do you want to just come here so the sisters can see?
Try and get it nice and tight.
You have to put it in nice and tight. If you imagine, it has to hold inside.
What about the hands? Does it need to be in any certain?
No.
Nothing.
No. So now comes the mi'zar, the loincloth. We're tightening the loincloth. And you can see how tight it's being pulled because you need to hold the body in place. Yes? Ahsant. Okay, now this is the last part. This is the what we would call the chador. Now the reason why I'm telling you this, you start with putting the right side first and then the left side over. It's not a mustahab to do it, it's a practical. When the body is lowered into the grave, you have to turn the body which way? Towards Qibla and on the right side. If you imagine now how, as he's being turned on the right side, which side might fall out? So, from a practical perspective, any of those who have done the Kaffan process, as you're turning him, if you put the left side first, then the weight of his body will...
Like this.
Sorry?
We keep him like this.
Yes.
Yes.
No, we in the grave.
Yeah.
But now when you're wrapping him, it's just easier that you put the right side first because you're going to be leaning him on the right side so it stays over, as opposed to if you put it on this side first, it will slip off in the grave.
If we did it the other way around, then we'll do the left side. It depends how we put this on, no?
No, I'm just talking about this one. It's just a practical thing. If you're going to turn the body on the side, which side of the cloth is going to fall off? Right. So you need to be able to cover him in a way that tries to minimize the potential of the Kaffan opening up inside the grave. Just telling you, those people who do the Kaffan process, they will tell you, start by putting the right hand side first on this one, okay?
At this point, we'd also put the scarf on the ladies.
So here, now we have the amama. To kindly, if I lift his head, yeah.
What's the reasoning for that one?
The amama is a mustahab act. That's why I didn't mention it earlier, but we first talked about the first 3 wajib pieces of the Kaffan. We could just literally tie it around his head. Afwan Sayyid. Even as simple as this is enough. This is the mustahab.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we cover.
تربة حسينية
Turbo not here. Turbo we use in
بالمقبرة.
بس هذا شلون يتنفس؟
Huh? No, okay. No, keep this one like this.
It's got to be wrapped tight. Can you see it's being put under the body to make sure it's wrapped tightly? And now we use the 3, what do you call them? Strips to be able to hold the entire Kaffan in place.
Because this one we open in Maqbara, huh?
In the grave. No, we don't. It's not. It's just a mustahab, as in, it's like a wasila. It's not. You can, but it's not required. It's like you can place it anywhere on top of their body, on here, or when they're being buried, put it on and then cover them with the mud.
Yeah.
It's a wasila.
This one on head as well.
Ahsant. Kindly, if you tie up the head.
But always we keep like this when we finish the vessel and
people
his family come to see him.
It's permissible for the family to come see. So, for example, you might put him at the front, and then people will come around to be able to see. It's not a requirement, but if there is time and dignity to it, and people will feel comforted by giving their final farewell and seeing the Mayyat's face. Now, of course, from time to time, someone may be very badly hurt in an accident. The face may be hurt severely, maybe burnt, God forbid. They might. Ahsant. So sometimes the face has required a lot of surgery and fixing. Even inside the ghusl room, they may have had to put a lot of cloth inside the nose, inside the ears to stop blood coming out, pus coming out. In these situations, where it probably may lower the hurma of the mayyit, we keep the face closed, and then people can come and give their final farewell without seeing the face.
This has happened with us.
It happens from time to time. If there is no mani', then you can keep the face open for the last time, for the family or whatever, and the friends to be able to bid their wida.
Are you allowed to see them even if you're not married? Because in some communities now they're like, oh no, you can't, you're not married, so you're not allowed.
You can still see.
Yeah, you can still
On that we close now.
And now we can close.
Close and tie it from here.
And tie it.
And we put him on the tabut and we set him to pray. That's it. Now just leave him here.
And this is the point where we stop because
Is it allowed to put a ring on his finger, or when it's
it's permissible, but I would say to you, put those things on top. Maybe you can put the Quran here, put Quran on top of him, whatever you want. That kaffan, remember we said that there's a kaffan that people buy from Karbala?
Yeah, some people
You can take it, and at this point, afwan, we would just put it on the chest. Yeah? So we would bury him like that as well, but for now, whilst he's sitting resting, we put the kaffan that he's bought that has the different inscriptions on the chest, and then people can come and do their farewell.
Now next step.
If there is any najasat at this point, what do you do? So remember, the idea behind the diaper is that, like any other child's diaper, it stops the najasat from leaking. Let us say you smell the najasat but can't see it. What do you do?
Nothing.
Nothing. Ahsant. If it starts to leak through and you see it, what do you do?
It's a small drop of blood, then you can just cut it round.
Ahsan. So you can, let's just say it's leaked through on this part. You can just cut off so that that part has been taken off. If it is more and you need to be able to wash, then this is also required.
If you cut off, do you cover it with something again, or do you
No,
just
as long as the kaffan is tamam and it's proper, even if you have to cut off a little bit or open up one part and cut off a little bit. So imagine now, just this part has got najis. You open up the strings, you take off the top part, you cut off the part that's become najis. You may want to wash this part, the top part, and close it up again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
If it's soaked all the way through, what if it's the najasa, you can see it and it's visibly soaked all the way through?
So if it's completely soaked through, what do you do here?
We had an incident, they had to repeat the kaffan.
Ahsant. So do you repeat the ghusl? No. The ghusl will become complete. So you want to be able to clean the body off a little bit. You can take him back to the maghtasil, wash.
Okay.
You okay? Wash down whatever has come out, and then redo the kaffan. Or at least those parts that you feel need to be done. If it's one part that's been affected or another part, it could be that blood's come out and you have to change the qamis, but not the mi'zar. It may be that you have to change the mi'zar, but not the qamis, for example.
There was an incident where there was a body that could not stop the najasa at all. They had to wrap plastic before the final
Ahsant.
shahada.
Yes. It's a rare thing, but it does happen. So we mentioned earlier on that before you give, or when you give the first wash, before the first 3 ghusl, remember we said, wash the body. Press down on the parts of the body that will help the excretion processes take place. Try to get out as much as is possible so that you don't have to worry about these things. But as you just heard from the Sayyid, it's very possible that it continues to flow. If you can't stop it, then you wrap it in such a way, like with plastic, that would close the wound or close the area of the najasat. So far what we have covered to now in this afternoon session, just to give you the highlights. So in order, we cut the kaffan according to the estimate size of the mayyit. We took the permission from the wali to be able to start the entire process. We did the first wash, which removes all the potential najasat that we can possibly find. In doing so, we have to keep the hurma, which is to cover the private parts. It's haram for us to be able to look at the private parts. The only time we can do so is when we have to be able to check parts of the body to make sure the najasat has been removed, or if there's anything stuck there that we need to be able to deal with. If possible, if we can get someone who is mahram, then that person can help with that part of the ghusl especially. And that removes any potential problems of us having to look at the private parts. Anything that you see regarding the privacy of that person, anything on their body, whether it's a tattoo, whether it's a type of operation that's been done, whatever, not permissible for you to talk about it with anyone else. The only time you can talk about it, for example, is if it's directly to someone to ask a mas'ala. Otherwise, you cannot talk to your wife about it, or someone else about it, your husband about it, your children about it, but what you saw inside the maghtasil. Then we do the first wash, the first ghusl, which type of water? Ma'ul Sidr. This is a wajib act which requires a wajib niyyah. It follows the tartib from the head to the neck, right hand side of the body, left hand side of the body. Second one is ma'ul kafur, same issue. Third one is ma' al khalis, pure water. If in the instance that you don't have one of those, then you have to swap it out with ma'ul khalis and tayammum, which is a wajib act as well. Then we try to wipe down the body to make it dry, and then we begin the process of hunut, ahsant, which is applying camphor to the 7 parts of the sajda, and then we start the takfeen process, doing the kaffan, of which there are 3 wajib parts. What are the 3 wajib parts? The qamis, the mi'zar, and then the chador, which is easier for us to remember. The qamis has to go from shoulders down past the navel, best if it can go all the way to the ankles. The mi'zar, the loincloth, from the navel all the way down to the ankles. And then the chador over, as you can see, covers the entirety of the body. It is mustahab to have the amama. The ladies also require a scarf. And then there is practically the ties. Any questions?
So to do that,
You don't need to, yes. So a person who wants to do Salah al-Janaza, you can be in a state of janaba, you can be in the state of you haven't fulfilled your ghusl for yourself, the mas'h Mayyat, you can go and pray the Salah. No wudu is required. What is the last thing for everyone to do, those who have touched the body?
They're fine.
Ahsan, for themselves. Yeah? So what's your niyyah? I am doing the ghusl for the mas'h Mayyat because I've touched the dead body. Wajib, qurbatan ilallah ta'ala. You perform your ghusl as you would normally perform your ghusl. Your head, your neck all down in one place, one time. Your right hand side of your body, your left hand side of your body. And then you are free. At the point of death, and it is better to be able to place him in a place where he used to pray his salah. If it's possible inside the Husayniyah, for example, put him in a place where, you know, inshallah, the malaika are normally here because it's a musalla, manabir, whatever, like that. A place where he's easily visitable by the mu'mineen to come and recite for him.
Sheikh, in terms of using the ihram that you did hajj in as your kaffan, some people do that.
Some people do, yes.
The cloth,
Yes.
the actual cloth.
Yes.
So that's permissible, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be one of these, it can be the ihram, but then make sure that that's organized in your will with your wasi in advance. Organize, you know.
usually it's not big for the final chadar wrap.
At best, you might use it as your mi'zar and qamis at best, but it would not fit in theory. It probably would not fit for the chadar side. No, there's 3 pieces which are wajib, and then for the sisters as well to be able to cover their hair and the neck to make sure that the entirety of the hijab is kept. And for men, the mustahab would be the amam. Thank you. So I pray that this has been beneficial for you all. Please, you now have the contacts of this group. If you wish to be able to make sure that your Husayniyah has the volunteer team, or you centralize the process amongst Manchester, that's the next process for you guys to do. I recommend that you start looking into the burial schemes that are available and so on. Start to have people who are points of contact in each Husayniyah if you don't have already. And please feel free to pass on this knowledge to those people who need it in your own communities. I think the organizers will be contacting you,
now trained, can join
asking for your assistance and making sure you're part of the rota in the team, inshallah, in your own communities. To hasten the appearance of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, to allow us to be alongside him at all times in our life and in our death. If we are to pass away from this world before his coming, Ya Allah, raise us from our grave so that we can partake in the victories of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Ya Allah, accept what we have done here this morning, this afternoon. Grant all those who are in need of any assistance, let us as a community fulfill our duties, be they wajib kifa'i or otherwise. Help us to be able to help the mu'mineen and mu'minat in whatever they require, and grant us all the reward for being able to help in this process. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salli ya Rabbi ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.